When we picture an overthinker, we imagine someone lying awake at 2 in the morning, paralyzed by abstract anxieties about a distant, unknowable future. In reality, the most agonizing form of overthinking is a state of extreme hyperattunement to the immediate present. It is the mind obsessively tracking a fleeting micro-expression of contempt on a friend's face, calculating the exact delay in a text message, or noticing a sudden, subtle shift in a colleague's walking style. This relentless observation creates a mastery of the unspoken second language of nonverbal communication, but it also forces the brain into a state of constant, involuntary intake that quickly becomes overwhelming. When you notice every tiny detail in your environment, your brain is burdened with the impossible task of processing an enormous volume of interpersonal data all at once. You try to quiet your mind, but the attempt itself just triggers a cascade of new analyzing thoughts. It creates an inescapable hall of mirrors, where trying to stop thinking requires you to think about how you're thinking. You end up drowning in a flood of social and environmental noise, desperate to find an off switch that doesn't seem to exist. Hypervigilance toward micro-details serves as a deeply ingrained biological defense mechanism. Evolution wired the human brain with an attachment system. Because early humans relied entirely on their tribe to avoid predators and starvation, our brains are programmed to treat social proximity as a literal matter of life and death. In this radar interface, people with an anxious attachment style operate with a constant sixth sense for danger. The brain sweeps the environment, pinging off microscopic shifts in a partner's mood, tone, or physical distance. A minor behavioral fluctuation is instantly translated into visceral warning signs inside your own body. You are essentially using prehistoric survival hardware to navigate a slightly delayed email or a distracted glance across a dinner table. Taking in all this sensory data is only the beginning of the problem. The crisis occurs during the brain's interpretation phase. The psychologist Daniel Kahneman identified a mode of thought called System 1. This is the brain's fast, automatic, and highly associative processing center. System 1 has zero tolerance for ambiguity. If you hand it a few random, unclear data points, like a sigh and a crossed arm, it will instantaneously invent a story to connect them. This creates what Kahneman calls the narrative fallacy, the brain's dangerous tendency to construct a flimsy, worst-case scenario account just to make sense of the noise. The overthinker finds their primary torment in the catastrophic fictions System 1 auto-generates to explain a simple, observed reality. The final layer of this cognitive cycle is a phenomenon Robert Greene identifies as Othello's error. In this flowchart, we see exactly how the error functions. It begins with a single accurate data input, a genuine emotional cue, like sudden nervousness. Instead of considering benign reasons, the anxious brain bypasses logic. It rushes down a catastrophic path, choosing an explanation that validates your deepest insecurities. They are abandoning me. This creates a situation where your perception of the physical data is completely accurate, but your interpretation of what it means is entirely wrong. Running this faulty, hyper-vigilant software without interruption carries a severe physical and mental cost. Psychologists use the term ego depletion to describe what happens next. The sheer mental effort required to constantly manage these rapid-fire, catastrophic narratives rapidly and completely drains the brain's cognitive resources. A biological system constantly pumping out stress hormones to deal with imagined threats eventually breaks down, leading to sleep disturbances, physical exhaustion, and a complete paralysis of analysis. Beyond the social damage of false assumptions, this constant state of high alert eventually completely burns out the physical nervous system. You cannot simply turn off your radar or force yourself to stop noticing micro details. It is impossible to fight millions of years of evolutionary biology. The actual solution requires you to forcefully sever the automatic link between observation and interpretation. We introduce System 2, the deliberate part of the mind. It acts as a physical block against System 1's catastrophic stories, forcing data down new pathways. In practice, this means forcing your brain to generate 3 alternative, boring explanations. By pausing the narrative to engage deliberate logic, you short-circuit the panic. Overthinking stops being a state of reactive anxiety and it transforms back into a powerful tool for objective, calm